Well, I don't really know what to say. This is crazy. But I don't really want to sound like every other YouTuber, so I'll keep this bit brief. But thank you guys. I honestly never expected this, especially with my awful editing and audio. But I'm really glad that you're all enjoying the videos. So far, reading the comments has been some of my favourite parts to do. So I just wanted to make this video to show off some of these comments that I've really enjoyed reading. This first one comes from someone's handle that I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce. They make some good points, but I love the methane's a hell of a drug sentence that they snuck in there. Cursed Emoji Man brings up a good point. The Sonic and MLP fan has a fart fetish, pretends to be shocked. And finally for this video, Hello World made me chuckle with this was extra greasy. These few comments aren't funny, but they do bring up some good information about Elliot Rodger and Chris Chan, bringing up the media the two of these would have consumed, which is a good point. Captain Thick Nick says something that absolutely needs to be said. All hail Chancellor Susan. Red says he looks like a younger Ben Shapiro, which I can actually see. One More Turn and Takuya Amano relate Elliot Rodger to Chris Chan, and I just love a good comparison. Jarbreed also does another comparison, although this time to King Cobra JFS, due to their dependency on the lottery. Sinjin, if that's right, says, this man, on every level except physical, is a fedora. Tips. If I had any proficiency in Photoshop, I would absolutely try and create that. Here is a mini collection of comments just making fun of him, which I can appreciate. Special Soup says, in before YouTube takes this down, lol. Which I tried to joke away by saying, I really hope not, I don't want to be Monkey Jones. And then the video was taken down briefly after that, although only for around a day. Here is a few commenters singing Chris Chan's classic, Virgin with Rage.
He's just standing there, menacingly!
Here's a comment from Bulia, if I'm pronouncing that right, that I share the same sentiment with, thinking of the only plays animated of The Lightbringer.
Don't you talk about me, you son of a bitch!
Who said that? What is that?
It's
What
me,
is that?
the Lightbringer!
Look, there he is. There he is. Get him out of here. Get him the hell out of here. Then cuts to the audience beating the shit out of him. Fucking ripping his jacket off. Throw him out in the cold. Don't give him his jacket. Don't give him.
This comment by Mr. Nobody talks a bit more about Bob, defending him slightly due to his old-fashioned nature and his age, bringing up some good points. Fiona highlights the part of the video with Chris demonstrating his skills, saying it induces vomiting, which is fair. Another name that I'm not going to try to pronounce started talking about Chris being crucified. This is one of the more disgusting yet funny comments I've received, especially when they talk about the plop, comparing it to nailing a pork shoulder to a wall. Here is a mini collection of Wings references. I love a good reference. Wheel talk. Epic Rotful brings up the beautiful timing in the Syndicate 1v1, where someone named OMG Just Rage Quit invites Woody to a party. Something that I did not expect when uploading my Wings of Redemption video is somebody else uploading a Wings video at the same time. Check Smokey out if you already haven't. His channel will be in the description. Agnes brings up a good point about Chris not calling the police when Julie is kidnapped, which I hadn't really thought about. Carl Rowland adds on to this by rightfully calling the police jerk-ops. DN2AK talks about Chris being incredibly creepy, having serial killer vibes, and that he could be in horror films, something that I still find an incredibly funny idea. Kumiake and Professor X Vile talk about some really disgustingly funny things about Chris being in jail, talking about him slobbering on some grade A inmate dome, and that he is being pumped full of millions of new Pokemon every day. Probably my favourite interaction so far has been with Super John Smith.
Sorry for what? Our daddy taught us not to be ashamed of our dicks, especially since they're such good size and all.
Yeah, I see that. Your daddy gave you good advice.
It gets bigger when I pull on it. Sometimes I pull on it so hard, I rip the skin.
Well, my daddy taught me a few things too, like how not to rip the skin by using someone else's mouth instead of your own hands.
Will you show me?
I'd be right happy to.
Here's some more horror comments about Chris. Michael Fragoso brought up his opinion on who failed Chris. Reb L then decided to reply, stating his mum made him pretty happy though. Big ups to Geordie Jordan, who stated, damn, his high school friend Sarah was hot AF. To which Moonbeam Laser replied, stating, don't let Kelly see this, or you're going to Banworld, pimp. Real talk. Lord Snark Grumpkinslayer states, that's a true and honest wet spot on that regarded boy's pants. That's what's up. This is something I never actually noticed during this part of the video, so it was a good spot. Geordie Jordan also put that Chris has now become one of the very girls who he would have despised, with Primitive Man stating,
until now you have become the very thing you swore to destroy.
About 6 minutes in now. I've had previous experience with freezing my dick, and I've even stretched it a bit. Right, I'll be checking back in 7.